got the northern lights.
Lights, lights.
Baby, you just kick your feet up while I kick back. I roll one with you by my side.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bold, Black, and Addicted to Bravo, because I am bold, Black, and addicted to Bravo. I'm excited because it is another cookout special. I feel like we just had one, but Bravo is pumping out these housewives and these reunions, so we just gotta keep up with them. The Real Housewives of Potomac just ended. It was a great season, so I have some fun people with me here to discuss it. I'll just go clockwise. I don't know the order on your screen, but I have Jasper, if you want to go first.
Hi, I'm Jasper, also known as
Actually, I apologize. Ladies first. We'll do Nela.
Okay.
Oh, listen, I'm a feminist first and foremost. Who got here first can introduce themselves first. But my name is Nela. I'm over at Fix My Life podcast, where I do my Big Sister Tarot readings every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific. But tonight is special because we're doing this recording, so I will see everybody later at 7 p.m. I'm not a psychic. I don't know the past. I can't tell you the future. I very much respect what little dead girls think and say nowadays. Now I do. But what I love most is being able to share any information with people that they need to hear, or just make people feel better if they had a shitty day.
Love it. And it's always good going on your lives and getting readings. Definitely enjoy it.
I love it when you go on my live.
Thank you. Okay, Jasper, King of Shade.
Hi, I'm Jasper, also known as the King of Shade _1. On Instagram, I have a podcast called Making It Make Sense with Isaiah, Jasper, and Theo, my two friends. We just actually are wrapping up our first season. We have a couple more episodes left with some guests, and so we can find us on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, as well as YouTube. And then you can also find us on Facebook at Making It Make Sense with IJT. Yeah, so yeah.
Love it. And I will include both of their links down below. So today we are discussing the Real Housewives of Potomac. But before we jump into it, I always start with a fun question. Since these are, look, and there is Semajh. Perfect timing. We'll let him join and introduce himself. And then normally I'll do like a game, but since these tend to be a lot more to discuss, I normally just do like a question to warm us up and then get right into it.
Uh-oh.
Semajh, you have perfect timing.
Hello.
Hello. We were just introducing ourselves.
Oh, great. So shall I dive on in?
Yes, please. Oh, are you going to be on camera?
You can't see me, but yes, I can be on camera.
I'm only asking because
maybe you can.
Okay,
can
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can see you a little bit. Because last time I tried to do a recording with someone who didn't want to be on camera, they just had their screen, which I thought was fine. But then the way the thing recorded it, it just blinked them out. So it only showed the three of us. So it was just like us looking at the screen sometimes and a voice from beyond.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so hi guys. I am Semajh, host of the Me I Am podcast, season 2, Listen and Learning, starting Friday, December 3rd. And I'm so excited to be here. Nyemade, I love you. I love this program. And I love the Real Housewives of Potomac. So let's get started.
Yes, perfect. Perfect introduction. All right, so I thought this was a good question to start. If you could have any one of the Potomac women redecorate your house, who would it be?
Ooh.
Not Giselle.
Definitely not Giselle.
Such a bad. I don't think she's that bad.
Dude, she's a Z Gallery reject.
Yes.
No.
I feel like of all their homes.
No.
But like Giselle's home has a little personality. Like some of their homes are just so like the same.
True.
At least from what we've seen. Like they're beautiful, but it's all like the same.
Yeah.
Actually, I would have Mama Dorothy redecorate it because I would make her pay.
There you go. There you go.
That is
Well, I
smart.
I would have Karen. I would let Karen redecorate my house because Karen is the grand dame. I know she has nice taste, so she would definitely get it together. Make it fine and nice looking. I'd rather have her do it than Giselle because it'll be dreadful if she did my house. Like her fashions and her makeup and her wigs.
I feel like just am I really the only person who thinks Giselle looks cute sometimes?
Yes, you are.
Sometimes one time she wore that beautiful green dress.
Listen, a broken clock is right twice a day.
All right, sorry, Giselle. I tried. I think
and the thing with Karen, Jasper, is she would leave you with all sorts of 3-wick candles all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
And Ladon.
Yeah. I would say I'd probably pick, mine is probably between Karen and Wendy. Only because since I too am African Liberian, I feel like Wendy would Dr. Wendy would put some little African flares in there for me, hopefully.
I love that. I would pick Robin because in theory, so just how just how Nela said, a broken clock is right twice a day. I think Robin, since she's always historically had the least, I think she would keep me on budget. But as we know, she gets to pay her taxes. Sometimes, she's currently going over budget on the new house. So hopefully I'll catch her on a day when the clock is right and she is on budget. I feel like she would keep me on track financially.
That is a good option. All right, I think we have some good choices. So since we're on the topic of how people look, let's work our way backwards. Let's start with the reunion. Jasper, you have the looks up there. Who is everyone's favorite and least favorite reunion look?
Oh, you had a lot to say, Jasper?
Yes. Yes, Jasper, who is your favorite and least favorite?
My favorite, it was hard to choose. So my favorite was Ashley. She looked stunning. She looked the best that she's ever looked at a reunion. She gave me everything I needed. The gown was beautifully coiffed to her body. Like, she looked amazing after having a baby. Like, she snatched in all the right places. I love her hair. Makeup is on point. She looks fabulous. My least favorite is Candace, because I can't do the bob. The grandma bob, I just can't.
What's your name, B.O.B.? I don't you, Bob?
I don't do the, I don't, because to me, the bob gives me shake and go. Like, she went to her mama's closet and shook it out, threw it on her head, and came to that set to do the reunion. And I can't get over that.
Not shake and go.
Shake and go, honey. She just shook it and went to the reunion.
Oh, all right. Love it.
Mama's bob.
Yes.
Nela, do you have one?
Oh, okay. I think hair and face wise, it was Wendy for me. It was truly Wendy for me. I thought her hair looked good. It looked good with the dress. Her makeup was lovely. I don't know who is doing the lighting on that show, but they lit them so well. Because I understand that is a big deal for if people don't know, when you're in a studio and you're trying to light melanated skin, you can't use the same lighting that you do on white women. So I really do appreciate that the technicality of setting these women up to look as good as possible happened. So hair wise and face, Wendy did it for me. I did mention that I did like Robin's dress, even though it gave me a little bit Mother of the Bride, but like I said, I'm just happy she woke up and did her hair for the reunion.
Did she do it?
She did. At least she didn't do that. Look, I'm sorry. Compared to last year when she did that crimp leopard print thing on, I don't even know what that was. This was miles ahead of that.
Really? Because last year, I like last season's hair because it actually looked done. To me, she looked like she just got out of her bed, rolled out of her bed, and came to the reunion. It's all over her head, like it's not even coiffed, like it's not even it's nothing done. It's not even styled to me.
No. At least she did a part in her hair. She
picked the thing up with the clips.
It's a little. I mean, it's no Giselle.
I mean, she was going for the Beyonce wet and wavy, and it didn't execute the wet and wavy. It was very flat and lifeless, like her storyline.
So,
yes, Semajh.
I have some thoughts. One of them being, was the theme pink because that was the plan? Goddess party pink, or did they make it pink because they got Nikki on board and she's Pink Friday, she's always in the pink wig? That's my first question.
I thought it was cherry blossoms.
I don't know, but that's one question that came to me right away. For
Well,
best,
I did pick a pink frock for today, vintage H&M. I'm
oh,
Yes.
I love that. For best, it's a tie between Karen and Giselle because they're both wearing the same shade of pink, and it looks good on both of them. So toss up between them, and then my least favorite shade of pink is Mia's because while it's a fun dress, I don't think it was right for a reunion. She would have looked great wearing that at her own goddess party that she threw. I think to go to work there. I think she would have looked good in like a pink slip, almost like the Sir slip, but pink. I think that would have looked good for her there.
All right.
Interesting.
All right. I thought you were going to say it would look good for when she used to entertain at the steak club.
No, listen, she said that
At
was a
the
long
steakhouse.
see-through ground and she was serving steak and lobster, okay?
Steak and lobster. Oh, no chicken wings.
I think, okay, so for my least favorite, it was Candy as well, which I'm sorry. But yeah, as the bob, it just didn't do anything for me. And I loved her dress. And I kind of got where she was going, but I think she should have done something different with the hair. And then my favorite, I really loved Robin's dress, which I think, well, I always love an off-shoulder, one-shoulder moment. So I also love Wendy's as well. I guess it's a mix between Wendy and Robin. But I really did love Robin's dress, especially like when she was sitting there giving leg with the sparkly shoes. Like she just looked really good. So I like that. You know what? I will be gracious to Robin as I rarely am and say Robin was my favorite look of the evening.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can see that.
So we're reversing it back to the start of the season. Well, let's just talk. Like, what was your favorite? Do any of you have like a highlight moment or a favorite moment of the season, or something that really stood out to you? You do, Semajh?
Anything having to do with Karen in Surrey County is top of my list.
Yes,
With
so
like
funny.
filming a video in the park that was not Surrey County, I think is bold.
Like on TV too. She just did not care.
Did not care. Going down the slide in her dress, walking around, all the kids' toys, like frolicking like a young, like, you know, Sylphian, like waif through the fields, and like, oh, Surrey County. I'm surprised she didn't like have a ham with her as she was sliding down
Right,
the slide.
Surrey
Like,
County ham.
No,
Oh.
I loved it.
Pretty
loved
much.
it.
When Karen gets in that grand dame, I am the moment
best.
kind of feeling. I love that kind of delusion. I do love it because that's what I want from my housewives. Total
Not
complete
delusion.
confidence
Yes.
in their like dreams of grandeur. Yes, that's what I like.
And I think that you need it, like, because I don't know, because I'm very big, you know, I'm all like self-love and loving yourself, and like other people's opinions don't matter. And I love when I see it really executed in a housewife. Even if we think they're delusional, I love that they don't care.
They don't
and
care.
they feel it, because that's how you should be. I always say everyone should be the Beyonce of their own lives. So
Yes.
Karen fully exemplifies that, and I love that about her. Love that for her.
Yeah, my favorite part was actually just the premiere, from Dr. Wendy's iconic nude interlude to us meeting Happy and Ness, to her asking, does anybody want a titty, to Hotbox to Sing Sing. I mean, that
Conversation was on another
classic
level.
Housewives, just top tier, just what we needed. Start us off hot and heavy. Like that's the moment, the dinner. I mean, you know, Giselle's chocolate dress there, it was giving me Bugs Life, it was giving me Ants, it was giving me, you know, a little bit of Big Hero 6. And I between that and, you know, the hot box and just the whole juxtaposition there. I mean, you know, the drive up to Dr. Wendy's house, the maps that they showed, just everything.
Did she have like outrageous invites for that too?
Yeah.
She sent that video doing that challenge where she
challenge,
yeah.
Boom.
I love it.
And then you found out that you could put a reverse filter on it and see everybody naked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I remember that. That.
Pro tip.
Good times. Yeah. So yeah, that was my moment. Episode 1, and then also an underrated line from episode 1 when Candace invites Giselle over to her house. She's like, oh, thank God she got a house. You know, Candace is a good 48 years old.
Oh, wow.
It's just a
And I love
shade.
Candace, but that cracked me up because again, there she is, you know, in her little, you know, choir conductor suit, talking about someone looking 48. I mean, come on, Giselle. I mean, come on.
Giselle always has something to say. Always. Jasper, what was your favorite moment?
I don't have a favorite moment from this season. No moment is like my favorite.
Nothing stood out to you?
Nothing. Nothing. Like I don't have a favorite, like outstanding moment in my mind from this season.
Top three.
Oh, also, side note, Jasper, what on earth is your Instagram handle? Because I can't find it.
At the King of Shade _1.
That's what I kept forgetting. The King. I'm like, where is this man? There it is. Okay. I'm trying to think, like, yeah, there weren't any amazing moments. I definitely love that first dinner. That argument was so funny because it was so outrageous. But I do like in the reunion that Robin did point out that while they were arguing, going back and forth, Karen was shooting out lies and funny things, and Giselle was shooting out facts, or facts as they were. Because remember, like, when we asked her later, Karen was like, or I think Ashley asked her, and Karen was like, I don't know, I just said it because it'd be funny. And kudos to her for like coming up with stuff funny on the fly like that, but also it's like, ooh.
Now, see, I had always heard, I always knew the reference to Sing Sing was because it was a prison.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering if Karen threw it out because she thought it was a psychiatric hospital. That's what I thought she was insinuating.
Oh.
And she just messed it up. They're gonna haul you off to Sing Sing. That's how that phrase goes.
I thought prison, so I didn't know what she was talking about. It was funny though.
Maybe Jamal's money was involved. You never know. People going to the prison for money on these shows.
True.
Let's talk about the husbands, right?
Let's talk about the husbands.
Do you think that Giselle has a serious double standard with like how much of her private life she tries to leave private, but always wants the details of everyone else's life on the show?
100.
Like she wouldn't even like talk about her boyfriend. Yeah.
She's a great employee. She's a great employee of a network. But also, let's be all the way honest. We all know. I mean, we're on Twitter. We read the blogs. We all know for a fact, up until her deciding to let Jamal Silver back into her life, she had nothing. She had no storyline. She literally let this man back in just to have a season 5 storyline. Little did she know she never needed it because, you know, Candace and Monique got to popping, but like she had nothing else before she decided to entertain this man again for about 6 seconds on the camera. So yeah, like she's just like, you know, like Arena has no storyline of their own, but will very happily equally get into everyone else's and make that her storyline, just being involved.
She's like a self-producer.
I thought she was just being a preacher's wife, getting into everybody's business and acting absolutely holier than thou.
Playing to her strengths, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. She is the first wife, or isn't that what they're called? The first lady.
First lady. Yeah.
She's the forever first lady. She's the first lady of Potomac. She's Jasper's favorite. Do you have anything to say, Jasper?
You tried it. I'm my favorite. I agree with what everyone has said about Giselle. I mean, Giselle has no storyline. She's, you know, she knows that she's irrelevant on the show, so she does what she does to try to maintain some relevancy on the show, because if she doesn't, then she will be forgotten amongst the other girls, because they do have lives. They do have things that they can talk about. We don't know anything about Giselle really. Her personal life, she's very guarded and she likes to keep that off limits, but she loves to go and poke and prod in other people's marriages and in their lives. I mean, if she had a man, maybe she wouldn't have to do that all the time because she would have something to focus on. Because my thing is, your children are telling you these things about yourself and you still yet have taken the time to really work on those things. If my kids are telling me they don't like me one season, the next season they're telling me that, Mom, we've never seen you or Dad in a successful relationship with any other person, that's a problem. But she fails to look at that and she wants to focus on destroying Wendy's marriage now. It's like, girl, like I need her to get it together. I need her to go get some therapy, get her life fixed. She needs to call Ayanna and Ayanna help her fix her life. Because she got some issues.
I'll fix her life.
She needs to get on Fix My Life podcast.
Yes.
I will say this. I am very I have a visceral reaction when people tell women that they need a man to have a story in their life. That is very visceral to me.
Agree.
Because I don't think you need a husband. You don't need a man to have a story to tell.
I don't think so. But when you're on the Real Housewives, I think that's the only time where I
you need a man.
make that.
Okay, I will give you that. I will give you that. But I think but even then, it's kind of like she's a divorced woman. She used to be a housewife. That counts for me. Because if that wasn't the case, then 87% of the current housewives would not be on any show.
New York, literally
exactly.
New York.
Nobody on New York is married.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to have seen Giselle have a storyline where maybe she did try to start a business. I would have loved to see what the process.
And stopped talking about it, and I don't know why.
The storyline I would have wanted to see was her designing her house. And building her house and working with the architect of that house. That would have been a brilliant storyline. That would have made sense for her.
And I do wonder if they shot it.
Yeah. And then we could have gone into her basement and made fun that it wasn't finished. And we could have been looking at her baseboards when it was going on and then making fun of her white fridge. But we didn't get that.
But they did that already, didn't they? They did that a couple seasons ago when she moved.
Oh, that was her first house.
That's what I'm saying. Like we seen her do that. I don't want to watch her do it again. Like she just watching paint dry. Like I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, no, but this was her building her dream house, not the house.
Who cares about Giselle's dream house?
Oh, see,
no one cares.
I love.
No one cares about Giselle's dream house.
I do like when they have storylines outside of the relationships because there's more to life than just who you're dating.
I mean, there is more than life. There is more to life in a relationship. But when a woman sits on the show and constantly attacks other people's relationships, if I have one, that's my problem. That's why I always bring it up when I talk about her, because she sits on that stage on another show and attacks women about their relationships. But they have a man. They have a husband at home they can go to. You don't have nobody but your kids, and they barely want you at home and barely want to look at you. So work on that and leave these women alone in their marriages. That's my issue with her. That's my issue.
I can understand that because she does frequently attack other women, and then she always brings it back to their men. Like no matter what the issue is, she brings it back to like their need for a relationship. I feel like it's weird because she seems to have such like a independent woman spirit, but then is also very much like people should be dependent on their mind. It's almost like, I don't know if
it's a Southern thing.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's like a Southern, the way she was raised thing, like old school kind of mentality, because she's clearly good on her own. But then
do not show us your prescription.
But then she'll tell like she'll tell Robin that she has to like be attractive for her man, like which you do, but like you can like that whole conversation. I was like, you could be
I hated
more supportive to your friend. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, she's one of those that used to advise women in her church that they had to follow what their man said. So there you go.
Yeah, you can tell.
That's why I don't like that. And I agree with you, Jasper. She does need to get another life rather than tell women about their men's. But
how long do you think she could last on the show, not really having a storyline? Because she does do good. She's good at instigating. She's good at riling stuff up. Like, do you think that is enough to carry her to continue to be on the show?
For at least one more season, yeah. For at least one more season.
I mean, she's Andy's favorite, so she's not going anywhere.
Yeah, because she's on the chat room and everything.
And let's be honest, Juan Antonio Dixon is not the prize everyone thinks he is. I've been listening to your podcast.
Do you want to get me started on Juan?
No.
Not too much on Juan.
I never understood that Juan love. Like,
yeah, no.
I got a lot to say about Juan this season.
He's sleepier than Robin.
Also, he doesn't like take out the trash. Robin takes out the trash. If there's a bug, Robin has to kill it. Like she's like she talks about him on the podcast, and it's very interesting. It's very much Robin's world, and Juan kind of exists in it, or like, you know, in his mind it revolves around him, and she just happens to be there. Like,
okay, so
it's a very interesting dynamic. You
listen to the podcast, so like, what does he bring to the table that maybe we're not seeing that makes him so wonderful that she can't live without him? Because like,
so she talked about that. And I think it truly with them, she says without saying it, it really is a situation of convenience. Like, you know, they grew up together, you know, like he lived with them for, you know, a long time as a teenager. So it's like they know each other so well. and also they probably think like, you know, they can't get any better, they can't do any better, or like, you know, if they do, they'd be scared to try it out now that they're both on TV in the public eye. So I think it's just easier wherever they want to be together or not to just be together and put on that front and make it look however it looks. And to answer your question, she says he's a great dad to the sons, Corey and Carter. So there's that. Yeah.
It just makes me sad because like I don't love Robin, but I still feel like she deserves better. And I think part of what I don't love about her is feeling like she deserves better and puts up with that. And she shouldn't. And
not even that. She's just comfortable, you know. It's
that's it right there.
It's what she knows.
There's a very famous song in Spanish by this one author, singer, and there's a line in this song that says la costumbre es más fuerte que el amor. Being comfortable is stronger than love. And I think that's really what it is. Like Semajh said, they've known each other since they were kids, since they were teenagers. They were each other's first everything.
And then his parents passed away while they were together, right?
And that in and of itself, that's why he went to go live with her family because her dad was his coach, right?
But I mean, like at what point though, like isn't she like in her late 40s? Like at what point do you like pick yourself? Like
you don't, because the fear of starting over is just too much. Like, is someone else gonna like me? Someone else gonna accept me? Like she's, you know, in her mind, she's like, this man knows me inside. He knows everything about me. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to, you know, put on a try. Like it is what it is. And with him, he's probably like, oh, she knows everything about me. And she still puts up, like, they're both probably too scared to fully like allow themselves a chance to step out and try, because it's just too much with them. Like,
and I'm wondering how
if I was Juan Dixon though, I wouldn't step out. I wouldn't leave either. Like he gets to literally do what he wants and she stays.
Exactly.
So like, why would he leave? I wouldn't leave if I was him.
Probably tax stuff
I'm wondering, this is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering how long they're going to stay together after those two boys go to college. Because I will tell you this, more than
maybe that's why he's pushing for another baby.
They're more together so that their sons are living in a whole family. I think the idea of being a single mom or a divorced dad with two young boys, it's just not worth it to them. They rather stick it out so that their boys have a stable home, which in a lot of ways, I really respect them when people put their children's needs above their own, which is why I'm never going to hate 100% on Giselle, because as much as her kids talk shit about her kids really love her and they're good kids. Like, I want to hang out with Giselle's kids.
Yeah, they are.
And I hate kids.
And I think that's, and I wonder though, and actually, I apologize. I said Robin was way older than she was. She's only 42. So I just remember she said she was going to keep practicing until she was 43. So I didn't mean, it wasn't an age shame.
She doesn't want to get pregnant. She doesn't want to get pregnant.
She doesn't want to, but I do wonder though if that's why Juan wants her to get pregnant. If Juan
wants her to get pregnant so she don't go nowhere.
Right.
She does not want to get pregnant because she don't want a fucking baby at her age. Listen, I mean, I'm not to shit on people who've been trying really, really hard to have kids and have a heart problem, but I could tell you she's like, I do not want to be pregnant at my age. I don't want to.
He wants to have kids. He was barely around, according to them, the first time. It's easy to want to have babies when you're not the one waking up with them, and you're not the one to like. Look at how much he complains about the little that they had to do now during quarantine. Like, you really want to give him a newborn? I wouldn't.
He couldn't show up to the reunion. He's going to show up to nightly feedings.
I love Juan. I'm a Juan fan.
What do you love about Juan, Jasper?
Tell us.
I love Juan because Juan is who Juan is. Juan is who he is. You see what you get from Juan. Juan he's been the same way since season 1. He has not changed, and I love that because Juan has not changed who he is, and Robin has accepted it. So I'm not gonna dislike him because she chooses to still be with somebody that clearly is not in love with her anymore. Because I don't think he's in love with her anymore. I don't think there's love there anymore. I think they're just together for the children. So I think Juan has already kind of clocked out the marriage, and Robin's holding on to that for the sake of their boys. So Juan is showing us who he is, and I can respect that. And I like that about Juan because Juan he may not show up to the reunions. He may pop up on the camera every once in a while, but hey, Juan's doing Juan, and Robin allows it. So I can't be mad at him.
You do love the people who give 0 Fs and do what they want.
Oh yeah.
Regardless if anyone else feels anything about it. So that is on brand for you to like Juan. Very on brand. Yeah, I don't know, but I agree with everything you said though, and those are all the reasons why I dislike him. because I just want
He
better
has
for.
not, listen, again, to Jasper's point, he has been himself this whole entire time, which has been, for me, utterly distasteful and
Same.
not even cute. He's not even
Same.
that cute.
And I feel like
Oh,
Robin
he cute
even will,
now.
like,
He ain't ugly now. He's a good
I didn't
looker.
say I would kick him out of bed, but he's not my first choice.
yeah, I don't understand when people say he's so hot, but that's another thing.
Maybe
But
when he was
He
younger.
is.
I feel like even when
When he was
Robin gives
younger.
him, like, I feel like sometimes Robin will set him up to redeem himself and he still does wrong. Like that whole conversation about the baby and how, you know, like, oh, you'll need to be around this time. Like that would have been a great time for him to be like, yeah, I wasn't there last time. I'll be there this time. Blah, blah, blah. Instead, he handles it like a toddler, throws a tantrum, gets in his car and drives away. Like,
I'm
come
done.
on, dude.
Man, I'm going to take my ball and go home.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. Like, grow up.
Honestly, the appeal I think is that he's light skinned. I think that's the big appeal for everyone, and whether they realize that or not, that is the appeal to Juan Antonio Dixon. He is light skinned and athletic, a winning combo in 2021. So,
well, out of that cast, I'll take the broke Idris Elba.
Shit, I'll take Ray over Juan.
Black
At least
Bill
Ray
Gates,
has
yeah.
money.
Black Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Y'all trying it, but okay. Y'all really want.
Listen.
No, I legit would take Eddie over Juan any day. Any day. You wouldn't take Eddie over Juan? Well, you love Juan, so
I'll totally take Eddie over Juan.
Eddie
over Juan. I'll take Big.
No, because I'm all about physical.
First of all, not only is Eddie cute,
No.
Eddie loves Wendy so much.
He adores her.
Family for her.
He lets her dress him.
Family for her.
Is that love or is that a dictatorship?
No,
Wendy
that's
wants
love.
that marriage.
No,
that's a dictatorship. That's not love. That's a dictatorship.
It's Wendy
wants that man.
It's love because he made a decision. He didn't have to leave his family.
That's being afraid. He's afraid of Wendy. Wendy wants
that marriage. Why is he afraid of Wendy? What about his interaction makes you think he's afraid of Wendy?
Because at the reunion, she literally spoke for the man. She wouldn't let Eddie say 2 words. She runs that man. Eddie don't say much because Wendy controls everything.
But maybe that's their dynamic. Like it's
a horrible one because that's a man.
I think that's appealing as fuck. A man that actually listens to me and doesn't contradict me and doesn't go against me and goes to the bat for me.
I agree. There are some relationships where, like for example, where you look at
it works.
If any of you watch Vanderpump Rules, where like Tom and Katie, like there are some where the guy is quieter, and the woman is more outspoken, but that's just their dynamic because maybe he's not as outspoken and she is.
I don't want a man that talks more than I do. No.
But
ever.
Y'all may be right, but that's why Eddie liking those booty pictures and stuff of those booty models and stuff. Because when you're doing too much.
I think he loves Wendy. I think it's
he may love her, but he getting turned off by her clearly.
That's cool with me.
That could be a turn off for a man. A woman that's trying to run everything. That's not
attractive. I'm not here to make men happy. Clearly,
weren't you just defending Juan Dixon?
You were defending Juan.
Where Robin runs everything.
But here you are.
Robin does not emasculate Juan. Wendy emasculates her husband.
Robin does not emasculate her husband.
I have seen men emasculated, and that is not it.
Jasper, do you like Heather, bro? Jasper, do you like Heather?
I don't know who that is. So
okay, I'll circle back.
Yeah.
Semajh, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Wendy emasculates Eddie?
Not at all, because I think he could just be a quiet man, a man of few words, and he just lets his wife do what she needs to do and just supports her.
Listen, I can't be the one.
Like Eddie's one of those quiet ones, right? Yeah. Like he's gonna let his woman do, but when they get back home, he's the one laying it down.
That's my favorite type because I'm a talker.
So we wear the pants in the panties. She wear the boxes in the panties.
Oh Lord!
Listen, I will tell you, as a woman who has done that both, it's fun.
But that's not
the men
good.
Don't
that's
mind.
Not attractive for me.
Well, see, that's the wonderful thing about life. You know, different strokes for different folks. Like you need the outspoken women so that they can have quiet men, and you need the outspoken men so they can be with the quiet women, and then the couples who meet in the middle who are a little of both. Like you need it all.
You need a little, Everything makes the world go round because God forbid we all like the same thing. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. You know, my
Speaking
mom
of
has
Wendy.
a saying. My mom has a saying. Hay todo en la viña del Señor. There's a little bit of everything in God's garden.
Amen.
I like that.
And I'm an atheist, so but there you go.
Yeah, that's a good quote. Well, speaking of Wendy, a lot of people seem to be having trouble like wrapping their head around like how is she going from a professor and a CNN person to doing candles? I have my opinions on that, but I want to hear yours.
Okay.
Yes.
As the child of immigrants who have been told and drilled into you that you are going to be successful, you are going to go to college, you are going to go to career, and it's not for you. It is for your family. It is for your community. It's to make sure that you bring other people like you up with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, so it's a really rough road to be to straddle both worlds, because you're respecting, because I like the conversations Wendy was having with her mom, like I felt that.
Yeah,
to
me
the
too.
bone. I was scared. Like all of a sudden I was like, she's gonna pinch her arm real hard right now. But that's the struggle that some of us have to have. It's like, yeah, we do go to college and we do get the career and we are making the money, and we suddenly realize we're fucking miserable because we chose this life not for us, but for other people and to make them happy. And they're so happy that we fulfilled their dreams. It's kind of like the idea of shutting that down is super fucking hard. Yep. So I can totally understand Wendy was like, I did this for you, but now I want to do something for me.
Yeah.
And I don't think it, like, listen, I'm a business consultant by day, tarot reader by night. And what reality would that make sense? But it makes sense for me. So if she wants to keep on maybe doing a couple of classes in Johns Hopkins and sell candles and stuff on the side, who's to say she can't?
Mm-hmm.
She's still doing it. I'm glad you brought it up. She's still teaching. She didn't stop teaching. Right. She's still doing it.
She needs to stop. She needs to stop. She needs to stop and take a semester off. I wonder what her students think of her behavior on this show.
Oh my God, wrong with her behavior? Would love it.
It was seeing too much, and she was turning into a Candace Jr. with her behavior. She's becoming very ratchet,
Candace Jr.
Very good.
I mean,
very good.
Wendy has brought it from the beginning. Even her people keep saying that like Wendy is different, but if you watch
she is very hood, very ghetto, very ratchet.
She is okay.
Very ratchet.
Okay, you have to stop right there.
Go.
Because you can say she is saying a lot, but hood and ratchet are not things you can describe.
Yes,
Wendy's name or her character.
Very hood and ratchet.
Is she reading? Yes. Is she giving her opinions? Yes. Is that hood? No.
Threatening to fight people is hood and ratchet. Threatening to fight somebody is hood and ratchet. That's ghetto.
No, it's not. Hood and ratchet is very different.
Emily
we can't keep describing those words
to
everything we don't like. If we don't like it or if it's bad, it's hood and ratchet. It's not.
No, it's very hood and ratchet. When you're a doctor and you went around the whole entire season last year, throwing your doctor credentials at everybody, your 4 online degrees to everybody. But then you will be holding to that standard because that's what you present us with. So then you come on the next season and now you want to be this hood chick. I'm about this life and I'll do this. It's very ratchet. So her behavior definitely changed this season.
But even her first season, remember that argument we had with Ashley, like the very first night?
Yeah.
And even her thing about throwing out her doctor stuff, those were in the middle of arguments where she was giving it to
people. But it was not needed.
And just throwing out.
She even after those arguments, she kept bringing it up every chance.
But what I'm saying is she's been arguing since her first season. It's nothing new.
It was not needed. Like it was not needed, and it annoyed the fan base because clearly it started to get on the fans' nerves. Not yours.
I loved it.
Me too.
A lot of the fans were annoyed by it, like myself, because like you don't have to constantly remind us what you have, boo. You got it, like because then it takes the value out of it for us. Because now you just throwing it in the girl's face that you are educated, that you have these degrees, or whatever. But you on the show, you on the same platform as they are, so you know better than them because you came on their show. You were casting on their show, so clearly
they should feel good that they are of caliber to be on the show with her
on the Real Laws of Atonement. So you're not above anyone because you're on the same couch they are. They're in the same circle as you at this point. So her doing it made her look very stupid to me last year. So this year coming in, now she's supposed to turn up and really go in and really.
So where would you like her to be? Because if degrees is too much and not degrees is too much. Where like what can Wendy do to make you happy?
Wendy can be herself and start. She can be herself.
What is herself then? Why do you think you know who she is?
Those degrees are not Wendy. Those degrees are not windy.
No,
They're not windy. They're not windy or Cepho. They're not her. She's her a person.
She put herself through the effort of going to school and getting educated. Those degrees are part
They're not
of
her.
Wendy.
They don't define her. They don't define
But
her.
they do. That's the thing.
They don't define her.
That's
we
the
have to get to know her. We have to get to know Wendy.
But here's the thing: when you work so hard to accomplish something, when you work so hard to accomplish something, that accomplishment is you. Like when I am up early mornings, do my work, and then up late nights doing my other stuff. Like when I have things to talk about, like it's my other work that I'm doing, my passion projects, my stuff that I'm putting together. Like that is me. So for her, that was her degree, and up until she got her degree, up until she got on the show and started changing that. That's makes up who she was. Like her degrees, being on CNN, being a commentator. So like that, when you ask her, it's kind of like with New York, when people would get mad at Ebony for talking about her Blackness, but that was her. Like that was her personality. That was part of what made up her life. Like you may not enjoy it, but that doesn't change the fact that like that's who she is. So like I feel like there's certain times where people are like, you're not showing us who you are, but it's like they're not showing you who you think they should be, but they're showing you who they are. You just that's not who you want to see.
She's not her degrees. She's not her degrees. Wendy's not her degrees. And
I will agree with Jasper on one point. Wendy's degrees actually belong to her mama. Because the way my degrees belong to my mama.
Yeah, because they push it. Yeah, I hear you on that.
Just a little
what were you saying, Semajh?
Just a little reminder. It's her second season. So as we know, with any second season housewife, they're expected to have a book or a business or something. So I feel like people are harping way too much on the candles. Like we know by this point, 15 years into the business, your second season, you have to have something. Just like Leah, she's got this book she's writing. Winnie's got a book, and so like I feel like people are putting too much emphasis on the fact that it's a candle. Like no, like you have to have some type of business for your second season as a part of your second season storyline. Like that. So
you don't think she has like a home decor secret passion?
She might, but I think it's more so killing two birds with one stone. I mean, even go back to Ashley. What does she have? That kangaroo meat restaurant. Giselle had the book. Someone's got something they're doing their second season. So this is Dr. Wendy's second. So she happens to have this candlelight. She got a book coming out in spring. So I think people gotta put that back in context for to go, oh, she went from doctor to professor to candle. Like, no, she's doing her job as a second season housewife having a quote unquote business.
Yeah,
I agree. And I feel like it's interesting that people don't acknowledge that people have like multiple like I do banking all day. I hate it, but like I love doing social media and stuff with businesses on the side. And I secretly want to have like a fashion line one day. Like people are multifaceted. So it's always interesting to me when people try to box in celebrities or people they see on TV in one box. Like when someone's an actor and then they go to sing and they're like, they can't do that. Or like when Rihanna first started doing like clothing, it's like, what are you doing? But it's like people like multiple things. Don't you like multiple things? Like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah. And I would like to point out something that one of my favorite Bravo podcasts of all time, Watch What Crappens, Ben and Robbie over there, my Bravo daddies, they say something about housewives all the time. Everybody's second season is when their bitch flower blooms. You know what I mean? Because the first season, they don't know what they're doing. They're not comfortable in front of the cameras. They don't know the whole setup. By season 2, they're all like, okay, now I know what I'm supposed to do and I can be myself. I'm not nervous. I'm not self-conscious. I think to Jasper's point, if you see something different about her the second season, it's because she's less self-conscious.
Yeah. Well, and see, that was my point too, is that like, I feel like she's more of who she was first season. Like she wasn't some, like people, I feel like sometimes act like she was some like wilting flower, do-goody lawyer the first, like she was bringing it. She was having those arguments. And as someone who liked her before she got on the show, I was actually surprised by how much attitude she brought. But like,
we
it's
just
not
missed
anything
it.
new. The second season is just more.
That right there, we missed it all because we were so wrapped up with the Monique and Candace of it all.
That's true.
We didn't miss it all. We got enough of it. We got enough of when she came for Ashley, out the gate.
Yeah,
we saw the bitch that was in her. She was a bitch the whole season, so the bitch been there. It just it's now she's a bigger bitch this season. Like she was a bitch all last season.
Bloom. It's not a bitch. It's a flower bloom.
So second season,
she's got flowers blooming. Speaking of flowers blooming, second season, I cannot imagine Mia blooming anymore. She's already pretty bloomed. I feel like she came in her first season bloom. How do you guys feel about Mia?
I love
Yeah.
I love Mia.
I loved her too.
I love Mia.
She was fully actualized her first season.
There's something about Mia in her storyline, particularly with her mother, and the way she tried to be like, I'm boss, business.
That was rough.
Where we're so transparent about her need to be accepted, her need to be respected, really kind of putting forward all of her accomplishments because of where she came from. And I wasn't offended by that. Like, if anything, I wanted to hug her. Like, more than anything, it's like, baby, come here, knucklehead. And I just wanted, I just wanted to hug Mia. I mean, yeah, she did some like whack ass things, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's hard watching this when you know all of these facets of their life and what they went through, and that this is a very specific manifestation of that childhood wound. Her coming in and talking about all her money isn't because she was, I don't believe she was trying to put anybody down. She was just trying to like build herself up.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought it interesting as well that I feel like she tried to come in and be very like in the middle, sort of like almost like a Cynthia or Robin. And it's interesting because looking at the comments and viewers, they took that as her being hypocritical and wishy-washy. But I really took it more as like she would try to see both sides of a lot of situations. Like she'd be like, I see your point and I see your point. Because there's not a lot of things that are straight black and white, right or wrong. Like most things are nuanced in life. And I liked that about her, that she could be like, okay, I can see this point and I can also see that point. I think the only thing she did that I really didn't like was when she tried to say that it would be Candy's fault if her mom went back on drugs. I was like, whoa, that's crossing a major line when you put your mother on television. But that was like the only thing. Other than that, I enjoyed her.
Yeah. But that's because she couldn't take it out on herself, because she knew it was about her, but she was just projecting it on to Candace.
Yeah.
I love Mia. Mia's my favorite. I like one of my favorites coming into the new season. I liked that her authenticity. She was who she is. She owned her past, and I can respect her because she wasn't afraid to say, hey, I did dance back in the day. I did what I had to do to make it or whatever, and that's part of who I am. I'm not ashamed of it, and I can respect it. I do think her statement to Candace about what Candace said about her mother and saying that her mother relapsed would be Candace's fault. I took it as, and I took that as her, saying to Candace, as Candace was saying some things, kept mentioning her mother and was saying things about her mother that could have potentially made her mother wasn't as strong as she is, could have led to her mother, going back and spiraling or whatever. So I get why she said to Candace, her mother being on the show is her mother's a part of her life. So her mother joined the show with her, like everybody else's mother on those couches or parents that come on the show. There's else on the show. He made an appearance, so I don't see the problem with Mia bringing her mother on the show. And people saying, well, she shouldn't have brought her mother on the show, but her mother is her life. Her mother is part of her life, her journey. She wanted to share their struggle and their story. Her mom battled through addiction and how they're working on their relationship and rebuilding. So her mother was an important part of her life. Is an important part of her life and her story for the show. So I don't see the issue with her having her mom on the show.
I don't see an issue with it as long as her mom okay with it. And I appreciate her for sharing that, because she could have very easily not shared it. She had stuff, her husband and her past, like she had enough story that she didn't necessarily have to share her mom, but she did. And I think I appreciate the vulnerability of that. I love, like you said, Jasper, that she owns who she is. That's always one of my favorite things with people, the non super toxic ones. And I like that she owns her past in the strip club. Like, why do we?
It was not a strip club. It was an entertainment membership.
The entertainment center. But even if it was, like, what is with these housewives?
She walked around in gowns and then took them off when she sat down.
Yes. The steakhouse entertainment. Like, I just don't understand what is with these housewives. And it's not, you know what? It's also part of why I watch Bravo and other shows, because it's just a microcosm of the real world. Like, people act like sex workers are like these horrible people, and it's like the worst, most low down, dirty thing you can do. Like we're describing a stripper like they're an axe murderer. Like, who cares? Who cares? who
You want to
cares?
know why? Because traditionally those strippers would take the food out of married women's mouths. That's
I mean,
why little social 101 real quick. The real reason women used to get married to men was because of economic need. So if another woman was coming along and trying to get money out of your man, that took food off your table and away from your kids.
Yeah.
A lot of times people would fight over a man, not because they fucking love the man, it's because they needed the money or else they were going to get thrown out on the street.
Yeah. That's honestly the only acceptable reason for me for being upset at a stripper. But the rest of it, like the sex shaming, is annoying to me.
But it's hand in hand.
Yeah.
You know, the Madonna whore of it all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a woman can marry a rich man and that's perfectly legitimate. But if you don't marry that man and just have sex with him and he gives you money, then now you're dirty.
Right. Right. Semajh, what do you think about Mia and her past and her present and future? I hope she's back next season. I thought she brought it. I hope she comes back.
Yeah.
She's definitely an interesting character. I see why she found her way onto the cameras. Did she make sense a lot of times? No. Did she make me laugh a lot? Yes. She kind of gave me early Jersey, early Teresa with the, you know, the mispronunciations, the mincing of words, the forgetfulness. So I appreciate that side of her. And just how she was just always, you know, willing to play and engage. She was yes-anding, but also, you know, starting scenes. So just, you know, her approach to housewife, like, let me start this fire, let me turn on this burner, let me go back to that pot over there, let me shake this up, and, you know, and then just stand in the kitchen and kind of like, you know, like watch all the food burn. So I liked how she was, you know, just able, ready, available, and willing to play all sides of the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Candy, because Candace, I feel like gave her the most grief about her like past all the time. And like, that's when Candace's snobbery comes in. And that's one of the few times where I'm like, oh, I do not like her. Even though I do like Candace for the most part, she cracks me up. And I've actually come to grips with the fact that I realize I sometimes, even with her being like when she attacks other people or has arguments, I realize that I sometimes hold her to a higher standard than I've held other housewives. So I've tried to tone that down and not be as upset with her for the crazy stuff she says, which makes me like her even more, because she is funny and she is likable, but there are times when she's just like a little much, and she is really bad about the sex slut shaming of Mia because of her past, and I don't particularly like that.
And a little bit to Ashley too.
Yep, she does it to Ashley too.
Mm-hmm.
She's your kid sister. You love her. She's annoying, but you love her. Also, do you love Drive
Back? Well,
I
used to beat the shit out of my kid sisters when they used to get annoying. So I don't know if that's the best example. No. And when I say, you think Monique was bad?
Yeah.
Well, that's where I was like, that was it.
Right, and she still acts like she's so. And I don't want to diminish her pain, but it's like, girl, you would have thought she had been like walked out of there with like two black eyes, like the way she's like, I'm still so traumatized by it. Like, you ran your, like, calm down.
You know, she does not have sisters. I will say this: anybody
she does though, but she does
by like that, by running your mouth and actually getting your mouth, you know. Did not grow up with sisters. Anybody who grew up with sisters saw that fight and said, yeah, not shocked.
Yeah. I mean, she does have sisters, which is the crazy
thing.
But,
Really?
She does. Yeah, she has a sister.
Yeah.
They don't claim her in, child. I won't claim
her.
her
Wait.
No, they're on it.
Wait, hold on, time on it. Is this a full sister with her mom, or is this a half sister with the dad that she did not grow up with?
Well, it's with her mom though, but it's with her mom. Because that's how I knew about her. They were on an episode together.
Yeah.
Go Google for Semajh, because they her sisters and they don't claim her. They haven't mentioned her. They haven't let us know.
No, they were on an episode with her. That's the only reason I know.
I remember there was a fight about inviting her half brother to the wedding. And I thought her mother was ridiculous about that.
2 years ago.
No, it was like her mom and her sister went to like wine tasting or something.
So like 2 years ago, they had been on show since. So That's
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So they
There
don't
you
play her
go.
anymore. Maybe that's it.
That's how
She
significant
does have a
it was.
sister. Yes.
Yeah, she does.
That okay.
Sister
And
Again,
and
then,
a half
what do you
brother,
guys think
yeah.
about the whole husbander? I like the way that he explained it. I, from the beginning, thought people were reading too much into it. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't saying that he was her manager. He's like, I manage her, not her career.
I
like,
just help her, right?
basically, he
Yeah.
just helps her as a husband
Help her
should
set
if he has
up.
the
dude,
time.
I want a Chris. Are you kidding?
Right?
He's gonna
Me
cook for
too.
me. He's gonna make sure I show up for my appointments on time.
Yes.
He's gonna run interference with people I don't want to talk to.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I would love a Chris.
I mean,
like,
but
Chris is
it's-
my
And
but
type
you
of
that's
got a
what
husband.
big brown dick? Come on.
But
That's
it-
just
but that's
win,
what
win,
it-
win, win, win all day.
But that's what a manager does. So, and technically, you would think he was a manager because that's what managers do. They kind of
Well,
make sure they
kind
are
of, but he doesn't like
do
deal
their
with her like
job.
contracts and like,
Yeah.
Right, he's not
according
able
to
to
him, he's not
negotiate
making the
deals for her.
deals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's more like a
According-
handler.
But he's doing manager things. He does manager type things with her to
Some-
make sure.
I
some
would
stuff.
say
So,
he's more of
technically,
a
he was
glorified
technically-
personal assistant.
And that's what he
Yeah.
said too. He said he was like a glorified
Like
assistant.
handler,
And that's
yeah.
exactly what he is more. He's
Yeah.
more like a glorified
See,
personal assistant.
I think he gives me more of a manager. He doesn't give me assistant because assistants don't have that much. Assistants don't have that much personal. He's not a personal with her because his wife. So I see more manager because he has more personal like ties to her and more personal interactions with her than an assistant would ever have with their person that working their employer. To me, so.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I feel like because your personal assistant is in all your business, but I think
Not all. No, not all.
Well, as we know from South Lake City, Jen's first personal assistant even
Yeah.
knew when she was getting her period. So
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, but
so they know. I think the difference is like, for me, the difference is who has the final say. If she has the final say, he's more like a glorified assistant. If he has the final say, he's more like her manager.
Yeah.
To me, that's
we
how I
don't know. We
interpret
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, it's probably a mix of both, right? It's probably a mix of
yeah.
both, depending on the situation.
I will say this, when those certain times where they have those scenes where they, maybe they don't think the cameras are catching, it does seem like they have a very, very sweet relationship.
I
Like
agree.
they do genuinely like each other.
Yeah.
And I do think that Chris is a good guy, because that one scene where he was cleaning up the lettuce and he actually had a very sincere conversation with Ashley,
Yeah.
saying, hey, I know it's not that great, but I want to say congratulations on your boys. You look happy. Like that
Yeah.
one.
I love Chris. I don't know what people's problem with Chris is. I
don't
think
know
Chris is
either.
great. I think he helps to calm her the F down
Yeah.
when she needs it. Yeah.
I feel bad for Chris. I like Chris. I feel bad for him because he's married to her, and unfortunately, being married to her, he has to deal with her mother, and her mother probably would never accept him.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And like
That.
she used this whole season to really destroy him, really, really bring him down. So
Yeah.
I feel bad for him because Chris is not himself. Like you can tell, like he's been affected by Dorothy and everything that's been going on. Like his whole vibe and energy was completely different. Like Chris was not himself. It's just
Well, I
not
think
himself.
part of the
I have a
problem is that
question.
people, oh yeah.
Who's worse, Mama Dorothy or Mama Joyce?
That
Mama
is
Dorothy.
true.
Mama Dorothy. Because Mama Joyce knew to shut the fuck up when Candy told her I'm marrying Ty. She knew to fall back. And
She
play her
stopped, yeah.
shut off.
Okay. All right.
I think part of the problem is that people, and it's human nature, right? Like to think that what your definition of success is other people's definition
Yeah.
of success, and what you really want is what other people want. And I think that sometimes they forget that people genuinely want and need different things from different people. Like if I'm working on being a boss bitch, well, I already am, but more of one.
Hey.
So like I don't necessarily look for that when I look for someone in a partner, a guy, someone who can like match my level and like the career wise. I look for someone who's like my peace. I look for someone who cracks me up. Like there are so many things I need outside of being like top dog. Like on some levels, it'd be great to date somebody who's like that, but on the other levels, I actually don't want that because my work takes up so much of my time. I want someone who's around when I actually have time and who can spend time with me and chill with me. But then if you look at people in relationships like that from the outside, it's so easy to be like, oh, well, she runs things, or this person, like he's not as successful. He's riding on her coattails. Maybe he's her peace. Maybe he's her joy. Maybe she doesn't need somebody who can do all those other things because she has it in other places. I think it looks bad for them that they were living in the mom's house, and then it's just it created this like, oh, he's just not good enough sort of like platform for them. But I mean, he even said they don't know his finances, and he had the finances to cover it. So he could be doing just fine, even if he's not some huge mega whatever. And like you said, like they have really nice interactions, and I wouldn't be surprised if like they're with each other for all those other reasons. And we just tend to dismiss that those other reasons are sometimes more important than how you look as a power couple on the outside.
Yeah, because when it comes down to it, it's more important what happens with a couple when they're alone behind closed doors and nobody's, behind those closed doors with them. And if they haven't separated, if they haven't left each other,
I just hope they don't let other people's noise get in the middle of that. Because I think we see that sometimes, like where you let the feedback of how other people view him and view their relationship affect their relationship. And I hope those two don't do that.
But too late for that. Dorothy's already done that. She's constantly doing that. So it's too late for that.
But I don't think they
never saying nothing.
I think in that situation, if Candace is going to choose, she's not going to choose her mom.
I think she would choose her mom because she's not gonna want to choose, and she's not gonna leave her mom. Like she's not gonna.
I feel like if she had to, if her mom doesn't stop, she would pick Chris over her mom.
Yeah, I think she'll pick Chris.
Well, actually, that's my question for you guys though. Who should she pick in that situation?
Chris,
the husband or the mother?
Yeah, Dorothy is emotionally and
I like that
mentally
answer,
manipulative of Candace. See, the thing with Candace is I kind of feel the same way about her in a certain sense that I feel the way about Mia, but in completely different ways. Like you can see the manipulation that Candace has lived under all of her life. Like you can see the way Dorothy was talking to all the other women about Chris was horrendous. It was abusive. It was just the lowest class thing. You want to talk about ghetto?
Yes.
You want to talk about ratchet?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to talk about low class?
Low budget?
Low budget?
Just that was low budget.
If anybody deserved a Yo Mama joke, it was Dorothy. Oh, time out.
Yeah,
I think Yo Mama jokes are totally acceptable in all situations. No, the Yo Mama jokes are like neutral.
Yeah.
They count.
Yeah.
But that kind of was like, that made me feel for Candace in a different way. Yeah. Like you can't help being reactionary and being distrustful of all women because your mother was so domineering. And I would say, what's a nice way for saying oppressive?
A bitch. No,
a bitch.
Controlling.
She's just very
Candace, your mama was a bitch. Done. Put it out there. Come at me, Dorothy.
Very opinionated. And she said she did it for fun. Like
right?
Like, yeah. Candace I think Andy asked Candace like, oh, you're like, why? Why she did it? She's like, oh, but she wanted to. She did it for fun. Dorothy had like no real reason.
That's gaslighting, and that's my big pet peeve in life are gaslighters. She knew why she did it. She did it on purpose.
For fun.
You do not involve yourself in your child's relationship unless you know your child is in danger, like real abusive danger. You don't
unless you want camera time, which she clearly does.
Which is what she wants. Yeah, no,
and she wants
to hold the champagne flute.
She does. And she'll be a great replacement for Candace. I actually could see her. Yep. Taking Candace's spot on the show because she definitely would give it.
In a certain way, it should have been Dorothy instead of Candace.
Oh yeah, honestly, I would enjoy seeing her and Karen go at it.
Oh,
because those would be some epic arguments.
That'd be so dark.
Oh yeah.
My goodness, could you imagine if they added Dorothy to the cast? It'd be like Melissa and Therese all over again. Like Candace would lose her mind. Oh, I just want to petition for that, just for the joy.
Just to see the meltdown.
No, leave my Candace alone. She's got to learn those songs.
Candy needs some real therapy from a real therapist.
She does.
From her mother.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I said this all the time. That she needs to go to a real therapist because whoever was her therapist last year did not do
her mama was her therapist.
The problem is that her mother
that was not a good job done because we clearly see this season the behavior has not changed.
No.
And she still is not willing to acknowledge or take accountability for her actions towards people when she uses her mouth. Like she sat there in front of her boss, her boss telling her the same thing that her coworkers are saying, and she still seems to think that she doesn't have a problem. That's a problem. If your boss is telling you that you have a problem, you listen to your boss, because your boss is tired of getting these emails from the fans telling them that they want you fired.
Yeah.
That's a sign. That's a warning that you need to stop before you.
Yeah, the lack of accountability is definitely a problem. And I did think it was interesting though how Andy called her out. I feel like more than I've really ever seen him call out other Huffs.
You mean like Sonia?
It was interesting.
Like
did he call out Sonia?
Like Tammy?
Ramona,
that's the one I meant.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he calls out Ramona, do you?
Ever.
Oh, he does. He does, but it's
not
like
hard enough.
It's
not
like
hard
jokey.
enough compared to like.
And time out. The way he was grilling Erica, fuck me. No, he wasn't. He was like,
it was jokey. It was playful. Yeah, it was jokey.
Yeah,
he grilled
he didn't
Erica.
ask one good question.
Like a boss. He asked Erica every question that he could think of that the fans wanted him to ask her, and she handled it like a boss. She didn't break down. I love Erica. I was proud of her because she stood her ground and didn't shake. She didn't break.
I feel like they were screamed. I feel like she's like, give me your questions. And
yeah,
I
think Erica read Andy's cards.
No, she just was ready. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. My girl was ready. Period.
True. I mean, I'm always gonna be an Erica fan until I find out for sure that she had something to do with it. So I think that she for the most part handled it well. I think she, we're not talking about Erica.
We're not talking about that.
Let's not.
So speaking of reunions, as this has been a great chat, I don't want to keep you guys all night, but I do want to know how you guys felt about Nikki's. Like how you felt about Miss Semajh's questions, her interactions. What do you guys think?
Okay, first of all, can I just say the fact I had always been like a Barb from like the far beaches, but this whole thing with her brother and her husband and her being an apologist for rapists and then actually coming and speaking out against this woman should have totally disqualified her from being on the show, particularly talking about the husbands.
And on Bravo.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't know if because of me thinking of all those things while she's asking those questions, like filtered my expectations and my reactions to the whole thing. Like, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I wasn't so critical of Nikki and what she's currently doing in her actual life.
Yeah.
Right. True, that's valid. Semajh, what do you think?
So while I wish it was literally anyone else, I'm glad that like the door is now open for this type of thing to happen.
Oh, God.
And I'm excited for the future. Now as far as her performance, I have to admit, I was able to, put everything Nela set aside, just frame it as this is a TV show, watch the show and get on with your life. She actually did a good job. She was engaged, she was funny, and the ladies seemed to understand, okay, like this is the moment for us to also take our show to the next level. No other show has ever had this. So let's behave. Let's not get back at her. Let's not attack her. Maybe it was like, written somewhere where like they can't like go back at her, like they can ask her questions. But anyways, if nothing else, this is a great moment for the show, and then again opening the door for possible future collaboration. So for all of that, I guess for the technicality of it all, then I loved it for that.
They're valid points, except that I hope it did not open the door because I don't want this all the time.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I wouldn't mind different hosts besides Andy, but this whole like having 3 parts and then having someone come in on the 4th part to ask the same questions we already talked about. Like
no more 4-part reunions.
No more 4-part.
I can't.
No,
if they're gonna bring in a guest host, it needs to be like the guest host for the entire reunion.
Yes.
It can't be Andy hosting and then the guest host hosting. No, thank you. Jasper, what were your thoughts? Oh, sorry.
No, Jasper first, and then I'll.
I agree with everything everybody just said earlier. I definitely was not excited about hosting because of what's going on in her personal life. I felt like she took it. She was really took it really hard. Was really hard on Ashley. For some reason, her target was Ashley. I feel like she was more lenient with Robin, even with Giselle. Even with Wendy, like she didn't really press Wendy the way I thought she would have pressed and asked questions. I feel like, I don't know, for some reason, Ashley for some reason was she wanted to know what wanted to come at Ashley, and I was like, Ashley held herself together very well and
Ashley did a
restrained
good
herself
job.
and really going there with her because I always had to get her together because what you're not gonna do is come for my man. Like we if you want to have a conversation about husbands, we can do that. But
Right?
Ashley didn't keep it together and then do that because I had to get on her level because what you're not gonna do is come in because you're against on my show. Remember, this is my show. Like when she tried to ask you about her not having a storyline and Ashley let her know, like I've been on here 6 years, baby. I'm not a new one, so don't stuff like that. So I didn't like that, but I think she did a good job. But she did her job to ask the questions. But I don't want this door open. I don't want other superstars. I don't want to see Mariah Carey host a Beverly Hills reunion. I don't want to see Celine Dion hosting no reunion. I don't want to.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I wouldn't be
100%.
surprised if like Rihanna tried to do New York, but like you're right. Ashley handled that so well because she could have said a lot of things and she didn't. But that's almost like the downside to having a celebrity host, right? Like I feel like if it had been Andy coming for her or even like somebody else, then she would have had like some things to say. But because it's like, oh, it's Nikki, I'm not going to say anything to make her
Do
upset.
you think they didn't say something because they know how rabid Nikki's fans are?
bar,
yes.
The army will.
Well, I don't know if you've been keeping
Probably
track.
that
So
too.
since this happened, which by the way, I don't understand. So there's this whole thing about the reading of the cards, right? But like Wendy was sitting right next to her when like Nikki was right there when she read the cards. They talked about it. So why is it this whole thing now on like Twitter and IG where people are like, oh, she read her cards and blah, blah, blah. Like, and then Nikki made a post about it. Nikki made a tweet about it. It's like, girl, you were sitting right there when she
was right there.
You're
You
right
could have
there.
said something.
And she's like, this is like when I leave my money and jewelry around. You
Fuck
didn't leave
that.
anything. You were sitting right there.
No. This was not the bar.
That was very
He was
ratchet
not-
and ghetto.
listen,
Because what you don't do is touch somebody's stuff. Because she wouldn't do Angie like that. She's never done Angie like that. So
Ramona
this is
did
a gift from the
Angie
show.
like that.
He never took his cards.
By the way,
He never looked at
your
his
best
cards.
friend Ramona has done it.
Don't do it to her.
Ramona has done it.
Andy.
Would look
Your
at the
best
cards.
friend Ramona has done it.
And as a doctor, as a professor, I know for a fact that she would not be happy if her students would have gone on her desk.
This was not a test. This was not a test. This was not a federally regulated.
You know what, Jasper?
Nobody was
Jasper,
taking
I can
the
respect
bar.
that if you can keep that same. Jasper, I can respect that you can keep that same energy for the fact that Ramona did the same thing to Andy.
Yup.
Ramona's done the same.
I saw Wendy do this to Nikki. I didn't see Ramona do it to Andy. So
We saw Ramona do it. So was it? Was it ratchet when Ramona did it?
I didn't see Ramona do it. I didn't see.
But we're telling you it happened.
Ramona did
I
it.
see it. If she did do it,
We'll send you the
it was
clip.
ratchet too. You don't do that.
Okay.
That's very unprofessional.
Listen,
As long as you keep the same energy, that's fine.
I will look at people's cards. You leave it out on the table where I can. Listen, I have worn boyfriends. If I go over your house and your drawer is open, I'm looking through it. If it's closed, I won't. But if it's open, I will. And trust me, if I'm in a man's house, I will absolutely look through his medicine cabinet. First thing, I go to the bathroom, I open that medicine cabinet, and I see what I'm up for.
Open it up.
I don't care.
That's like Nikki said. It's like her leaving her jewelry and stuff on the table.
It is not jewelry.
It's the same thing.
Same question. No. Jasper, I'm not giving you this one.
And when you know better,
no,
as a doctor,
this is not jewelry.
as a professor,
This is
she
not
knows better.
And your freezer.
This
She
is
knows
not
better.
a
She said,
sacred
as Dr.
text.
Wendy, she knows better.
No,
Dr.
I'm
Wendy
checking your
knows
jacket
better.
Yeah, but
pocket.
that is a ridiculous
Checking on
comparison.
your
That's a
shoes.
ridiculous
not.
comparison.
You don't
No,
touch
not a
nobody's
test.
stuff.
Nope, Jasper
I'm checking.
doesn't. No,
Just
does
sock
not.
pocket.
No,
Jasper, that comparison is a
No.
lot.
That was Nikki's property. That was
No.
her stuff.
It was
Under the
not. It was
mattress.
like Bravo
those cards
cards.
were printed
But that was
by
her stuff.
Bravo.
Like, the questions on the cards were not only pertaining to Wendy, they were pertaining to the other girls on the show.
Yeah.
But that's not the same as stealing somebody's jewelry.
That's not stealing money.
I'm checking in the pantry. If there's a pantry, let me open the
She was
pantry.
doing too much.
I want to see it all.
She was doing
It's
too
not
much.
the
Like
same.
I
I
said, she
think
was
it was
doing too
like-
much.
It was,
No,
yeah,
it's not the
that
same.
comparison was too
She
much.
was doing
That's
too
what was
much.
No.
Like I said, Nikki knows that Wendy was doing too much per usual at this reunion. She got on my nerves the entire reunion doing the most.
Then I would totally beat up your ass, Jasper, because I would look through all your shit when you
She
were
was
looking
doing
up.
the
You're like,
most. Wendy
what's
was doing the
underneath
most
this magazine on the coffee table?
Yeah.
Per usual. And
Don't-
being very
All
aggressive.
All right, so
Doing
never
the
invite me to
most.
your house.
Yes. Doing the most. It really did the whole. She got on my nerves this entire reunion. All 4 parts. She worked every nerve I had.
I will
did
say
the
Wendy,
most.
even though I am a fan of Wendy, she was doing a little much for me this reunion. Like she could have just like sat back a little bit. There was
She
I'll give
could
you that,
have
Jasper.
won the
And she was on
whole thing
10.
by staying cool, and
Yeah.
she didn't.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like she came in on 10 throwing out shade darts, but a lot of the shade darts won't even land. And like you have
I
to be
will-
strategic when you throw your shade. You can't throw it out.
I'll give you that. Yeah, she was throwing out too much for
And
it
she's
to
a
be
doctor. This is
effective.
Dr. Wendy with the degrees, baby.
Yeah.
You should know this.
Yeah.
Dr. Wendy should know
So
this.
I was just about to wrap us up, and I realized we didn't even really talk about Karen, but there wasn't much to talk about with
It's
Karen
okay.
this season.
She was
there really
irrelevant.
wasn't.
Just
No.
her fun stuff with the
Buy the candle.
yeah.
Yes.
Buy the
Well,
candle.
I
Those
appreciate you guys
wedding.
so much. I want to give Nela some time to go to do her podcast, and she already pushed it back for me, which I appreciate it. And I've had
I'll
fun
push
talking.
anything back for you, darling. You know I
Thank
love
you.
Oh.
Well, I've had fun chatting with you guys, and we will be back. Like I said, Bravo keeps pumping out all these shows. Tonight was actually a premiere of Orange County, which I'm thinking of watching. I haven't watched it in years.
I'm watching it right now.
I'm sorry.
The last
Orange
time I watched
County,
it was Heather's first season.
After that Miami trailer dropped, Orange County can just
yeah. I'm ready for Miami.
Good.
That Miami looks good.
Sun, sand, Miami.
I'm gonna eat so good when Miami shows up.
Ooh. Yes. But we'll definitely be doing another get together for the Ultimate Girls Trip because I want to talk about that.
Yes,
and I have so much to talk about. Oh Lord,
please.
Jasper, you'll have to come back because you're the only person who likes Ramona. So,
yeah.
so we'll need you back to talk about all the Ramona things. But
listen, you can be my friend now, so you don't have to have shitty friends like Ramona. I will take you. I will take you. Please be my friend so you don't have to be Ramona.
You'll still love her. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We like the shade anyways. Well, thank you all again so much. Thank you everybody who watched. I'm including the links for everybody who was a guest down below. And join us again next time. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I roll one with you by my side.